Good evening and welcome to the match day 3 of the championship. I'm doing the championship review. Yes, welcome, good evening to everyone wherever you are. This is actually third Sunday night, and it's the usual slot here for the championship review. I'm your host, Carl. We'll be talking about loads of all the results this past weekend. A couple of good results for teams like Leeds, Sunderland, also for West Brom as well, and also also for a good draw in the Welsh derby as well. We got Michael. He's joining me as well. Even Michael.
Hey mate, you're doing all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Hopefully, we'll get some more guests coming on shortly. So, even
Well,
though
hopefully Curtis and Nathan are in a good mood because neither team lost. So, that's the hope.
I hope so. Even though I'm not saying to start early drinks, but because I've got to go to a mass karaoke after this because it's the last night of the Fringe up here in Edinburgh. So I'm trying to make sure I have a voice to sing, to shout and sing loudly.
So basically what he's saying is he's going to try and get me to do most of the talking. Save his voice for later on.
We will see. I did a lot of talking yesterday by myself because Doug was not on yesterday after last minute check plans happened, so I couldn't do. I had to do the Saturday show by myself. So yeah,
Hey God. Well, at least we're not gonna be short of talking points tonight, are we?
not really. Actually,
Okay.
not from the banners I put all the results in place. We'll talk about our teams later because that's gonna be a lot
That's
more to
fine.
discuss. But I do want to start off with just going on with looking at the Saturday's games. Well, pretty much Saturday's games. Hull City drawing 0-0. I don't know if you watched the game I caught on the Football League highlights. It wasn't much to go for both sides. It's still without a win.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. For some reason, I thought Hull had won a game at this point, but they've drawn their first three, haven't they? So I believe that for Millwall, it was important to get a point off the mark, and a point away from home is never a bad sort of result. I've never expected Millwall. I don't expect either of these teams to challenge, um, to the top six, but especially Millwall. I think Millwall. It was good after they conceded something like. Let me see if I get this right. Conceded 7 goals, I think, in their first 2 games. So
Yeah,
it was important to just. This kind of was more what I expected of Millwall, where you're going to be maybe defensively solid, maybe like struggle to score goals. I don't know how many chances across the game that they had, but I know there was one from Louis Coyle because I did watch the Football League highlight show. But Louis Coyle had a bit of an audacious effort that
yeah,
went
he
off
did.
target. But from Millwall's point of view, it's not a bad point. It's good to get off the mark to get something. From Hull's perspective, I imagine they probably targeted this game as a win, and I think Hull. They've had, I think Plymouth draws against Plymouth and Millwall could be considered disappointing. Bristol City away. No, sorry, they were home to Bristol City. So that's not
Yeah.
the worst. So they're solid and hard to beat. They just need to get a bit more of a clinical edge by the looks of it to turn draws into wins.
Absolutely. Actually, there is a message for you, actually, from Mr. Doug himself, Sunderland, top of the league.
I'll save
Sunderland.
my excitement for later, Doug. Don't worry when we talk about our teams. I suspect we're saving them to the end. But
We are, actually. I wanted to
yeah, that's
make
fine.
sure.
I'm happy to wait till the end to talk about us. But yeah, but no, thank you very much, Doug. Thank you very much, and hope you're all right. By the way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I did think Luca had good chances, but I'm hopeful it'll be improved for a bit, the defense, because we have got news that Liam Cooper is closer to signing a deal with Hull. He was at the game yesterday with the owners yesterday, so it looks like he's going to be close to joining Hull on it probably sooner than later, the next couple of days.
Hmm. Well, I mean, was it sorry Liam Cooper signing for Hull?
Yes, yeah.
Solid signing for them, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a good signing. I know Leeds were trying to get him to see if they could get him a page play, but I didn't see it was going to happen, and especially the way how that relationship ended, and not no thank you, no, especially he's been at the club for quite a long time, so
Yeah.
yeah, a bit disappointed with that anyway. Really, right, let's go to Carrow Road. Sheffield United getting that draw at Norwich, over Alabasta strike, maintain their unbeaten start for the for Sheffield United. But Norwich, went ahead with Josh Sargent. Bits. Do you think Sheffield United? Do you think this was a draw, or do you think Sheffield United should have won because they had good chances against Norwich? I think Norwich struggled a little bit yesterday.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad result for either team. I think obviously Sheffield United had the 2 points deduction, which they wiped out in the first game. But I think a point in Carrow Road, I don't think is much to be sniffed at for a lot of teams in this league. I think that obviously the strike that got Sheffield United a point was a stunner. It was an absolutely beautiful goal, well taken. From Norwich's point of view, it was great. I think they've got to keep hold of Josh Sargent, but I suspect now that they've got money for Gabriel Sara and they're going to get money for Johnny Rowe, who joined Marseille on loan. Basically, it was a loan with an obligation to buy, so they're going to get the money next summer.
Yeah,
But so considering they let them two go, I think it's crucial they keep Josh Sargent and likes of Angus Gunn, Boris Sainz, for example. But from Sheffield United's point of view, yeah, they did have their own chances, but I think a draw at Carrow Road not really to be sniffed at. So I think both teams would think they could have done worse than get a draw out of this game.
yeah, I 100% agree with that as well. I really do. The other game I was just saying, how has Plymouth get to? How did Plymouth get a draw?
Yeah, I saw that.
To send it off. I didn't fall short with a second booker for fence, and I think it was. I can't remember other play got sent off for a high tackle as well. It was just extraordinary how Rudy side looked. So this guy away with it. Actually, no. Do you know? I know who got sent off now.
Isaac.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I was like, how? Yeah, just I don't know. I don't know how QPR did not get a win. I thought they had so much good chances to get a win. I really did, but somehow Plymouth get a draw. I'm a bit surprised.
Well, Plymouth have got to thank Morgan Whittaker because we talked about stunning goals. That's another one where I think it came from a pass that came through to QPR, and then there was a mistimed touch that basically led to Whittaker striking it first time, and he rattles it from about probably 30 yards out, and it wrestles into the bottom corner, and it just goes to show how vital Morgan Whittaker is for Plymouth. But from Plymouth's point of view, yeah, they had not just one red card but two. So with that in mind, it's definitely a much better result for Plymouth in the circumstances. And obviously QPR did have the opportunities, but I'm all right. I think QPR will be all right. I've said all along I rate Marty Cifuentes as a manager, and I think as well as and I think it's going to be a big few days in the window for QPR and for Plymouth. Still have my question marks over Wayne Rooney, but to be fair to him, he's got 2 points on the board since that 4-0 drubbing away at Sheffield Wednesday on the opening weekend. So
Yeah,
this draw is a good one. You know when you get some draws that are like, is it good? It's not really that good. Like, no, in the circumstances, this one's a bloody good point for Plymouth. So the fact, and they were with 10 men for I think 2/3 of the game, from what I remember rightly.
I know. I
So
know.
good point for them in the circumstances. In fact, sorry, exceptional point for them in the circumstances.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, exceptional 6 points for them in that to get that result. Yeah, very very surprised indeed. West Brom winning at Stoke. Stoke had so much chances. Lewis Kumas had a chance to score and he hit the post. But West Brom are going quite well at the start of this season. They've been more under the radar for the early start of the season.
I'm trying to remember that. So they won at QPR. I'm trying to think what was
They
their
drew
second.
against us last weekend.
Of course they did. Yeah, I can't forget. I suppose because it was 0-0, it didn't sound like an entertaining game. So no wonder I forgot it.
Yeah, I know.
Good, solid one. So you beat QPR and Stoke, you draw with Leeds. No, it is a very solid start, but we know that Carlos Corberan's a really, really good manager, and he's someone who's able to get the best out of players. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge for West Brom in terms of squad depth. I mean, the most recent player they signed was Callum Styles, who I have to say really quickly, Callum Styles must have one of the best agents on the planet to get a move to West Brom, because
I know.
even for us, when we finished 16th last year, I thought he wasn't terrible. He's not a bad player. He's just bang average for me. He just doesn't really do much else. But I suppose West Brom, obviously with Thomas Asante being the big one, they had to sell some squad depth for paying PSR sustainability, proper sustainability rules, and replace him with Devante Cole. So I think the squad depth in that sense for West Brom is going to be a bigger challenge than it was last year for Corberan. But I would say that, but it's a very, very good win. You go away from home, you get a 2-1 win. You're not going to complain about it. And
No.
Stoke, and obviously for Stoke's point of view, it remains to be seen how they're going to end up doing in terms of, we already went through this cycle with Stoke about whether they can have another manager who, ends the season all right, keeps just about treads water and keeps them in mid-table, and then doesn't start the next season well. But in defence of Stoke, they have played They've beaten Coventry, which is a really good win, I think, and then they have obviously lost at Watford. Given the start Watford have had, that's no disgrace. And obviously West Brom, we expect to be right up there. So I think Stoke will have easier fixtures down the line. Not saying there's easy games, but they'll have more winnable games on paper coming up in the next few weeks. But nothing to be too concerned about. But good win for West Brom.
Oh yeah, absolutely good for West Brom. I think for Stoke, they had chances that Steve Schumacher said it could be it wasn't like it was a draw, but to go out if you don't convert your chances twice, and fair play to Lewis Kubas is on low for Liverpool. It actually looked like he's a good player for Stoke the season if his loan development really shines through and hopefully gets back into Andy Slott's first team, for next summer.
Absolutely. So I think with Steven Schumacher, if they can, again, it's all about, granted, we're probably not the best example of this, or Watford for that matter, but it's about giving somebody enough time to change a culture around and to change the sort of mentality, because the mentality at Stoke's been really poor. But when they've got the odd talent breaking through and they've got a bit of excitement for the supporters, I think it's something that will end up going a long way for them, because pro Stoke haven't really had much to cheer, have they, since they've come into the Championship? As said last week, they've not once finished in the top half even, let alone near the playoffs since they've got relegated, which isn't good enough for them. But yeah, I think Stoke will be all right. I think if Steven Schumacher can get a bit of the rub of the green and get maybe a win before the international break and really just get on a bit nice little unbeaten run, then I think they'll be all right.
Absolutely, indeed, yeah. Let's go to Riverside. 2-2 draw between Borough and Portsmouth, and this was a good game. Matt Clark scored against his old club, and then made a mess.
And decided to help his old club out, didn't he?
Yeah,
yeah. That was. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Like I said, I only watched the EFL highlights not long before we did this, but watching it, I was just watching it. It was kind of like almost comically bad. The way
I feel like faulty towers in that scenario, like just everything clashing. Yeah,
well, exactly. But maybe there's a conspiracy theory going on here, because maybe Matt Clark thought, I feel bad scoring against Pompey. Do you want to go and retake the lead again, and then we'll just share the spoils and we'll call it a day?
Maybe
I can't imagine that would have been going through his head when he was clattering through with was it Senny Dieng, I think. So
yeah,
look, I'm trying to say, because again, it's a bit similar to the Leeds game for Paulson, where on paper before the game, this would have been a very, very good result. But it's the second. I don't think Borough were quite as dominant from what I can recall as what you lot were against them.
Yeah.
But even then, to be fair to Portsmouth, I don't think they can complain much with the results in their games. Yes, Luton were down to 10 men, but when you think about it, they faced at the start of the season, Leeds and Luton were big favourites for promotion. Middlesbrough favourites probably to finish in the top 6 at the very least.
Yeah.
Come away from that with 3 draws. I think they could have done a lot worse. And if you look at it this way, I don't think they've done better than if, say, they won 1 and lost the other 2. So I think with Portsmouth, if they get through the next couple of games, I think they've got us next week at Fratton Park. And I think they've might got West Brom, I think, afterwards. I'm going to try and have a quick look at Pompey's fixtures. But to be fair, Pompey, I've been impressed with them so far. They're not like here just to make up. Okay, yeah, their next 3 games are pretty tricky.
You and then the Guts. Yeah,
well, they've got us, and then in September they've got West Brom. But they've got us, West Brom, Burnley, and Sheffield United in their next 4.
Yeah.
So but their October looks pretty decent. They've got Stoke, Oxford, QPR, Cardiff, and Sheffield Wednesday. So I think if they can get to the end of September and get there, and then even if they probably lose 2 and draw 2 of the next 4, then I think there would be enough leeway to know that Pompey's start fixture-wise has been absolutely horrendous. But at the same time, as you've seen yourself, and we know, when you've just got promoted, there's that sort of buzz around the place when you're not afraid to sort of take people on. So this could be the good time to have that sort of fixture list, really. And then later on in the season, once they've become adapted to the Championship, they will start to pick up more results. But I've been impressed with Pompey so far. They've not come here to make up the numbers, and they're here to really attack the Championship and give it a good go. So obviously from Tommy Conway, it was his home debut, wasn't it, for Middlesbrough? So yeah, good to get off the mark with a penalty in tough circumstances. Again, I think Middlesbrough go from strength to strength as the season goes on. So point not bad in the end. A point not bad for both teams, even though for Pompey it'll feel like 2 drops.
Absolutely, indeed. Well, we might have a goal of the season already. It's contender already for Mark Harris, but Blackburn 1-2 against Oxford. But what a goal from Mark Harris.
Clark.
No,
Hang on,
sorry,
did you
sorry.
put up
No,
for
I
me?
know. Do you know what I think? Mark Harris. Sorry, good go from Mark Harris from all the way from 30 plus yards as well. Really good goal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're striking a ball from distance, particularly if it's hit first time, like that's. I mean, I can't even kick a ball straight 5 yards, let alone doing something like that. But no, Mark Harris is. If he's had a really good start to the season for Oxford and been in pretty good prolific goal scoring form. So if Oxford look, obviously from Oxford's point of view, they've followed that win up against Norwich with 2 defeats. But bearing in mind Norwich are in transition, so that's still a really good win for them. Though Blackburn started the season well, and Coventry expected to be up there. So I think from Mark Harris' point of view, he's going to be crucial and critical for Oxford's chances of staying up this season. But also at the same time, from Blackburn's point of view, you've got to give it to John Eustace so far because he's got what is it? Beaten. Okay, granted, he's played 2 promoted teams at home in
Yeah,
Derby and Oxford, but at the end of the day, as we know, promoted teams early on are sometimes the worst time to play those sort of sides. So he's
yeah.
got 2 wins from 2 against them and got a draw at Carrow Road in his second game, which I actually don't. Which again, not a bad result either. So I think fair play to John Eustace so far, and especially amidst losing Sammy Smodics and all of the preseason stuff that was being predicted against them. I backed them to stay up already, but there you go. Regardless of that, though, he's made a really, really good start, and long may continue for him. Hopefully, Blackburn learn from Birmingham's mistake and don't sack him at the start of October when he's got them like 6th in the league and then pay the price for it later.
I
But
know, but remember what Blackburn did years ago when the Venkis took over, when Big Sam was there, and
that's
that's
true,
now,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
this is the
shows
Venk.
that,
Yeah, you're right. This is the Venkies we're talking about, so nothing straightforward, is it?
yeah, it's nothing straightforward with them.
But
So
to be fair, though, I think Oxford, not Oxford. Well, Oxford, I think will again. Oxford, I think there'll be other games where they can get results. They'll be back at the. I think they're back at the Kassam. Let's see if they've got next week. But from Blackburn's point of view, really, really good. There's no. You've got 7 points in the first 3 games amidst again, as I said, losing Sammy Smodics, who got what was it, 27 goals last year
yeah,
for Blackburn. So it just turns out they haven't missed him because they've scored 4 goals without him since. So yeah, fair play to them. Fair play to them. And Oxford have got I think I've just missed their fixture. Preston next week at the Kassam, which it's a tough one because obviously you have Paul Heckenbottom, which we'll get onto later. But yeah, great for Mark Harris, good for start for Blackburn.
absolutely. Well, we are going to get on to Paul Heckingbottom actually, because that's the next only good win for him. As new Preston manager. Do you know
You're
about
welcome for the segue, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, to the next game.
I know. You worry about Luton at the minute. They start to the season. They're still at the bottom of the table. Do you worry about their slow start?
Say again, sorry.
Do you worry about Luton's slow start?
Oh, Luton. Sorry, I thought you said Preston for some reason. Um, in defence of them, they played. Okay, now granted, I know Burnley lost to us yesterday, but like I think when they played when Luton played Burnley, they still had Dara O'Shea, they still had Sander Berg, I believe, playing that night. They still had, I think it was Josh Cullen was playing that night.
Yeah,
So they've faced Burnley when they were at their pretty much their strongest. Although I think Burnley's squad now is still pretty strong, but they was stronger back when they played them. Portsmouth, in fairness, I think obviously in that circumstance, a point down there with 10 men for an hour. And then Fratton Park, which is Pompey's first home game back in the Championship for something like 8 seasons, I think it is. That's always going to be a very difficult one. This one, yeah, they haven't had much luck, Luton, have they? When in terms of timing of fixtures, because this was Paul Heckenbottom's first game, being a deep Dale. Well, first of all, very good win for Preston. Good for them to finally get off the mark. And I'm sure that there won't be any complaints about that. I think Luton will be fine. As I've said earlier, my biggest query with Luton is how they're going to cope with this being the first season where there's expectation on their shoulders. When in previous seasons there hasn't been, there obviously weren't expectations last year in the Premier League, and in seasons before that in the Championship, maybe as they went on they were expected to not go down, but they weren't expected to necessarily finish top 3 then go up. So
no,
no, but I think obviously they've shown faith in Rob Edwards, and Luton don't strike me as a club to sack people left, right, and centre. So yes, you could say concerned, but not concerned enough to the point where I think they won't be anywhere near the top 6 or anything.
absolutely. Is Paul Heckingbottom the right man for Preston to take them forward now, going forward, because of the years Preston have been in that mid-table top half for the last so many years? Do you think he's the right man that can really, maybe this season might be a write-off if they can, if the results don't go their way, but does it next season let them challenge for the top half and particularly the playoffs under his helm?
Possibly. I mean, with Paul Heckenbottom, it's if he likes to play front foot aggressive attacking football, then my concern with this is these players, as we said before, were signed to play for Ryan Lowe's style of play, and Ryan Lowe's style of play wasn't exactly very attacking very much because they. I mean,
No.
if you look, I mean, if depending how much you believe in your XG stats and all that nonsense, like last season they really overperformed their XG, and that means they're not a great attacking side. But then again, at the same time, sometimes a change can be a good thing. Sometimes a change can be a way to sort of switch things up and to sort of get them. Oh, sorry, switch things up and basically get moving. So yeah, I mean, they certainly could have done a lot. Whether he fits the players what they have at their disposal, I don't know. But in terms of a managerial appointment for a club like Preston, I don't think it's a bad shout.
No, I don't. I think this is a good, decent choice as well, especially the like you said last. I think they were the only team in the top half of the table had the minus goal difference compared to nearly everyone else. Actually, from what I remember, the record of the scoring goals was not good compared to them letting in goals. So, which was a huge concern under Ryan Lowe for the past number of years. But yeah, we'll see if that will improve. At Deep Dell in the foreseeable future. Right, let's go to Vicarage Road. Watford winning 2-1 against Derby. Watford have been started quite well. 3 wins from three. Like I said, Derby battled really hard. Like you could see that from their highlights. But Watford found a way to win under Musa Soko's been back at the club since he last was playing for them a couple of years ago.
What a narrative and story that is for Musa Sissoko for his Watford homecoming to get the winner in his first game back playing for them. But yeah, do you know what? But again, it's a bit similar with Derby. I think that we mentioned how crucial Pride Park's going to be, just in terms of their chances of staying up this season. But like, I mean, obviously they had Blackburn when they came back to be drawing 1-1 with them, and then ended up falling away from them second half. Responded with a really good win last week against Borough, but then obviously this game again, bit similar to what I said with Stoke. Really, I think for Derby losing away at Watford isn't a disgraceful result because of the way that they've started the season. But yeah, I mean, and good for Watford to come from behind as well, because that's the first time I believe they were in that sort of situation where they had to go from behind and had to rescue a game from coming behind. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm quietly impressed by Watford, and especially like with Blackburn, they had a couple of people like not the top 20 and second tier pod predicting them to struggle to get relegated. Obviously, look, nothing's done in August. There's still a long way to go yet, but yeah, I think. But from Watford's point of view, and for Tom Cleverley, considering this is entering his first full season as a head coach when he's got
yeah.
next to no experience, he couldn't have asked for a better start.
No, absolutely not. As well, do you see them really challenging in the latter stages to get into the playoffs? To challenge in the top 10 and that top six, just about.
Ooh, now that's a different question. Obviously they've lost quite a few key players, haven't they? So I think
Yeah,
Wesley Hoyt, Espria, I think is another one that's left them.
Aspria's gone to Genoa. Yeah, Genoa.
Right,
Yeah,
so they're losing. They've lost a couple of key players for them. So I think it's can they? They definitely can. Whether they will, I'm not sure. I don't think that by the end of the season they'll be a team that's in and amongst the playoff sort of contention. But top half, there's no reason why you can't achieve that. But I think the bigger question would be: is Tom Cleverley still going to be there by the end of the season? Because Watford are even worse than what we've been for getting rid of people. So like, we'll wait and see. What do you think?
good question. I agree on certain points, especially what's been happening. That with I think the owner, the Pozzo family want to sell the club, but they are just like releasing stock shares to the fans, which is interesting what they're trying to do. But it depends on how long they give Tom Cleverley time. It's the timing of that now. It's a
Hmm.
questionable one. I think if he gets by December, I'm going to say at least December. I think that and the things are going all right. I think there's a chance. There's a huge chance with that one, but you know what Watford's
Absolutely.
like. They can be very much that team that
Trigger happy.
yeah.
But to be fair though, like the longer it goes on and the higher in the league, then the conversation shifts, doesn't it? And then you go, well, why can't you? Weirder things have happened before.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. We'll see. We'll see how things turn out for Watford. Let's go to the Welsh derby actually, and I didn't watch the game, but I heard it was pretty end to end, and Swansea took the lead, but they should have kept that lead. And you knew that after the chances they took, you know that someone like Callum Robinson would come for the pitch to score equaliser. They got their first goal in the season, Cardiff. But was this a fair draw?
Well, I watched bits and pieces of the game. I didn't see the full thing. From the first half, if you're basing it just off the first half, no. Swansea were easily the better side by a country distance.
Yeah,
Cardiff started to have a bit more territory towards the end of the first half, but Swansea was so dominant. Well, I would say dominant because Cardiff was so poor. But so Swansea deserved the lead at half time. If I had to say, based towards the end of the game, I would say maybe a draw was the best Cardiff deserved out of this game, if that makes sense. If they did deserve anything, it was a draw at clutching at very best. Now, obviously, from Cardiff's point of view, it's a better point for them because these guys lost away at Swansea in March towards the end near the end of the last season, and they lost quite tamely from what I remember. So
yeah,
to get something here is important, and also it's important from their perspective to stop the run of first two losses. Which, granted, to be fair, they've lost to the team that's currently top, and they've lost to Burnley, who. Although okay, 5-0 probably flattered Burnley, but Burnley has still got the quality, haven't they? So in fairness, and they haven't had the easiest of fixtures to start with. But coming away from based on that, to go away to Swansea, your arch rivals, and to come away and get something is pretty good. And Errol Bullitt will probably know that they might have got away with one there. But while the game's up, while you don't finish your chances off, and while the game's 1-0, with someone like Callum Robinson, as you've said before, it means that they've got every chance to fight back and get something. And in the end, I thought Cardiff probably looked the more likely to go and nick it at the end. So I would say, yeah, Cardiff. Well, we know now Cardiff will be the much happier of the two with the draw. It's not, and Swansea's start, it's not too bad. They lost away at Middlesbrough, which is no shame. Beat Preston last week, got a draw in this game. 4 points for Swansea. Cardiff are off the mark, so yeah, it's all about just making see how they both respective teams react to this draw next week. But yeah, good result, good point for Cardiff, and good finish from Robertson as well.
yeah. No, it was a good finish as well. I did see that goal, and no one of the Cardiff fans could have tried to save themselves from over the advertising about. That was just yeah.
The emotion of a derby, you know it.
I know. Well, we'll talk about advertising balls later on when it comes to Sheffield United Leeds shortly.
Sheffield Wednesday Leeds, you mean?
Sheffield Wednesday Leeds. Yeah, sorry. See, with
Not
the
even
two.
Sheffield Wednesday fans watching this. I don't disrespect you like that.
I know. Well, since Andy's not here, I thought we were gonna get his take on it. Bit surprising from especially how he talked about Casey Power in the group chat, how much he despises him, especially he didn't do enough at Bristol City for the last year till he went to
And then you
Coventry.
know what happens. Take that player that you really, really hate for an irrational, for irrational or rational reasons, and then all of a sudden they pipe up and score a really, really, and pipe up and score a goal in the moment. From what I heard of this game, I didn't watch it, but from what I did hear of it, Coventry were particularly poor, and
Yeah,
by some of it, Bristol City were the better side across the match. But the goal Bristol City scored, one of the goals for
Tanner
the
George, that was a wonder. What a wonder goal that was as
absolutely
well.
fair play from Tanner. That first hit volley, I think it was from a set piece where the
Yeah,
ball was then cleared or headed out towards Tanner on the edge of the box. And again, pretty similar to Harris, but in a different sort of way. Lashes in, it zooms like a rocket into the back of the net, and Coventry's keepers never get into that. You're never saving shots like that. So good from Bristol City to sort of end the half on top and get ahead, but then obviously Palmer, yeah, there might be a bit of a bittersweet moment for him scoring against the club he was at for a number of years. Again, I think it's not a terrible result for either. I've said this quite a few times, but the draw's not a bad result for either team. But given the apparent performance, what I heard from Coventry fans, yeah, they'll definitely. In fact, actually, yes, looking at the stats, they'll definitely be happier.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, they've only had one shot on target the whole game. So from their perspective, to come away and get a point, that could be a sign of a good team, though, because I do rate Coventry's squad. So if Coventry come away from Bristol City with a draw, having not played very well, then that could be a sign that they're on to good things. But Bristol City are sort of ticking along nicely. I think they've got 5 points from their opening 3 games. So they haven't had a dull game yet. 2 1-1s and a 4-3 thriller. So, what's Andy got to moan about?
Yeah, well, if the one person that was here and was slick commentary, we know he hates us so much. Is and especially he was out for Curry today. Wish he could slip off commentary, especially how they got a draw, but he's avoided it because commentary got a draw. He said only will come on if
Aye.
commentary loses. So
Typical Annie, of course. When Bristol City don't win, he doesn't come on.
I know. Right, do you know what? We're gonna get onto your team, and I did not suspect you were going to beat Burnley. I really didn't, but
For what
he,
it's worth, I didn't. I thought we'd lose. So it's not
but
just you.
I know, but you've not conceded a goal. You've won 3 from 3. You've equaled your last feat was back in 1925, 1926, and you've done it without Jack Clark as well, who's now gone. I know it's sad. I know you're
Well, I'm kind of
heartbroken.
laughing about it because it's like it's a typical Sunderland thing to lose Jack Clark, but then his replacement scores the winning goal against one of the favourites for promotion. Um, I'll start with the Jack Clark thing actually because we obviously had a good talk about it last week.
We did.
You guys probably know my thoughts from what I put in the group chat. I'm still not particularly impressed with the fee that Ipswich have given us.
No,
I think,
I'm going to agree with you with that one. I think you've been lowballed by them.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it's basically 15 million rising to 20 with add-ons. Now, I suspect the way I look at it is there could have been a chance we could have got 25 million. I know there hadn't been a bidding war for Clark, but I still suspect that come deadline day, there would have been teams desperate enough to want to pay 25 million. The problem we've then got is we needed that sale to go through to start pushing through with a lot of other deals. And I suspect Sunderland will be one of the busiest teams in the championship this week in the last week of the window in terms of spending money. But we couldn't do that until a sale was made. And
Yeah,
the problem is if you sell Clark on deadline day, we can't get anybody else in. And then that means we're kind of stuck with what we've got now, which I still maintain is a pretty good squad, but it's one where obviously Jack Clark, I'm not going to ignore it, Jack Clark being out of the team is a blow, but it's one that was almost kind of expected. And in fact, at the start of the summer window, I was adamant that he was going. So in that sense, I'm less gutted because I expected him to leave, but I think the fee's too low, but at the same time, we've inserted what I believe is a 15% sell-on clause in the deal with Clark to Ipswich. So,
okay, okay. Let's
well,
see here. If we buy him next summer, if we get promoted, God forbid.
get lost with that. We'll win the league and we'll buy him back and forgo the sell-on.
Exactly. If one of us,
Well,
yeah, one of us,
what I
yeah,
was actually what I was going to say was that Clark could go to Ipswich and do a really good season, but if they get relegated, then I could see him going to a fee to another club for like 30 million quid or something. He's
yeah.
on a 5-year contract, so by next summer he'll be on 4 years. So that would mean that Sunderland, if it was 30 million as a hypothetical fee, we get nearly 5 million extra. And apparently that would not go to Tottenham because Tottenham get a quarter of the clause. Sorry, it's 25% sell on. So out of the £15 million initially, we only get, I think it's 11.25 million. Now, yes, that's not a lot, but the way I've thought about it is if they sell on, I don't believe the sell on clause is applicable to the add ons, and I don't believe it's applicable to the money we get from the sell on later on down the line. So maybe in some ways that actually is a bit cleverer because it means we're saving a bit of money down the line for when we might need it, but also 11 million is surely enough to get you two top draw players at this level, like really, or at least one top draw player and one competent player at this level. But either way, that was the story going into the game. Jack Clark obviously had gone. I thought with Jack Clark, still didn't expect to get anything, but I think we could cause Burnley some problems. But when Jack Clark was sold, I was like, right, I'll get a point. Give us a point right now. I'll snap your hand off. But I didn't realise how many crucial players Burnley had sold this week or were missing.
I know because O'Shea's
Yeah.
not gone to. He's gone to Ipswich as
Yeah.
well, hasn't he? Yeah,
Yeah, he was announced this evening, wasn't he? Or today at
yeah,
some point. So O'Shea's gone, Sanderberger's gone. I believe that Josh Cullen was out through injury with this one. So
yes,
that's already a few crucial players that were missing. But you've still got likes of Coutinho there. You've still got Jay Rodriguez, Lyle Foster. There's a couple of other ones I keep forgetting. Josh Brownhill's still there.
yeah,
We've got. I think most of their apart from I've forgotten his name already. Apart from Darrell O'Shea, I think most of the back line's the same from the previous games. And obviously you've got James Trafford, who was trying to time waste at 0-0, funnily enough, but which was quite fun. But that was the narrative going into the game. I still felt, and I still feel that Burnley have a good enough squad, and I think they should be quite busy in the window. If anything, Burnley are an example that if you sell a lot of your assets at one go, it can be very disruptive, and it can be cause a disc cohesion. I don't even know if that's the word. Whatever the opposite of cohesion
This
is.
cohesion could be, yeah, that might be a word actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's not, I've just invented one by the looks of it.
Fair
But
enough, yeah, you claim
yeah,
it. So.
absolutely. But as far as we were concerned going into this game, Romain Mundle, who is the former Tottenham Academy lad, which we seem to love signing lads that are associated with Tottenham Hotspur, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got Romain Mundle from Standard Liège because he rejected a contract last summer to go to Standard Liège, and then we got him for £2 million in January. Now he's been touted as one of a contender for replacing Jack Clarke. And straight off the bat yesterday, I thought Sunderland were outstanding. I know that Burnley obviously had only one shot on target the whole game. They only had 4 shots on target in total. They only had one good chance, which was a header by Lyle Foster at the very end of the first half.
Mm.
Literally, other than that, Sunderland in the first half we dominated. We could not. Burnley couldn't live with the press. They couldn't live with the fact that Roberts and Mundle were terrorising them down the wings. They were literally getting at them so quickly. And Romain Mundle, I'll give him this. He is rapid. He is absolutely lightning fast. And I think if we can get that rawness out of him and sharpen him up a bit, then I think I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as Clarke because Clarke's very, very hard to replace. But
Yeah.
he's someone who, that I've said before, I don't think Sunderland need to necessarily replace Clarke's goals on the wings. You need to get someone up front who's going to score the goals. And I think if you get someone on the wing who's good enough to get 5 to 10 goals and a handful of assists, then I think you've replaced essentially what you've lost. But Mundle took his goal really, really well. I think Mundle drove down the left-hand side, dinked the ball across the box, went past everybody. I think Patrick Roberts tried to volley it, but didn't do a very good job of it. But then, so it's kind of an accidental assist for Roberts, but it's an assist, so I'm taking it. So it goes back to Mundle, who Burnley believed was in an offside position, takes on a few men, skins a couple of them, and then lashes it into the bottom corner. It's not too dissimilar from a goal that Sir Jack Clarke used to score. So obviously there's a lot of rawness with Mundle, but if that performance is anything to go by, then there's definitely something there to work with. But in general, Sunderland, if we had more of an end product, we would have been probably 3-0 up by half time. And it was amazing how many times we kept attacking Burnley again and again and again, couldn't live with us. And then second half, we managed the game brilliantly. We weren't anywhere near as good as what we were in the first half going forward. But against Burnley, regardless of who they've sold, you're going to have a lot of you're going to have spells where they're going to have more of the ball, more of the territory, and put you under a bit of pressure. Sunderland's game management was great. Every time Burnley got forward when there was a loose ball, bang! Sunderland player right in the middle of it and got onto the end of it to get recycle possession and go again or to get it cleared. And Sunderland defended manfully all afternoon. Restricted Burnley next to nothing. Obviously, Dan Neil got sent off with 10 minutes to go, which was. I did say before the game that I would have took a 1-1 draw, but as that last 10 minutes was unfolding, I was thinking, oh, piss off. Don't draw 1-1 like this, please. Like, come on. No, if you're going to at least give us a 1-1 draw, at least let us go behind and then rescue a point or something. But no, Sunderland really defended like beavers, as the legend Chris Kamara used to say.
Yeah.
But we defended so well. And one thing I noticed, apart from the fact that there was a massive roar in the stadium at full time, was as soon as that full-time whistle went, a few of our players went, they were absolutely
exhausted.
yeah, exactly. You could tell just how much, and that was the type of thing we needed after the Clarke departure, that they'd given everything, blood, sweat, and tears for that victory. And it was a real determination to go, no, we are not throwing this lead away. We are making sure that we get this clean sheet and get a 1-0 win. But I can't complain with our start. I'm trying very hard not to get excited because at the end of the day, nothing's done in August. We still need a couple of good re-attacking reinforcements in the window coming in the next few days. But, of course, I'm not going to complain with three wins, 3 clean sheets, top of the division at the moment. But again, it's all it is. It's at the moment. But this, for me, was going to be, I did say last week, this would be a marker for what our capabilities are. And we passed it with, and even though Burnley had some players not available to them one way or another, we passed it with flying colours. And I would argue this is probably performance of the weekend. And I'm not saying that as in a biased point of view, because Burnley scored 9 goals in their previous 2 games and have looked the part so far this season. But, we'll keep going with it. But yeah, I couldn't have been proud of the lads. We gave everything, and Burnley were lucky that it was but we only lost by 1 goal.
Absolutely. And we know the transfer deadline date closes on this Friday coming up, 11 p.m. here down in England, but midnight here in Scotland. Don't ask me why there's a difference with that one, but It's
Scotland won't complain. It's an extra hour to do your business.
yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, I can't argue with that one as well.
Yeah, but
Let's finally go to the last game. I saved it because I felt relief for the first time in the last just more majority of this summer, nearly to the end of the summer. I thought, can things be turned around? And yes, it did. On Friday night, I watched the game with happiness, seeing Leeds getting their first win of the season. 2-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. Brendan Harrison, Dan James, Gay Leeds a victory. I have to say, Leeds looked a lot better. The counter press was a lot more better. I'll speak to my friend Andy Rogers in the group chat. He said the counter press is probably what you guys need. We need to play more, and I think we should do. And you know, it looks like after everything the mess has been behind the club, we look like we're going to get some players in, and we know that Mano Solomon is coming in from Spurs on loan. That should be completed by tomorrow, hopefully. He did arrive in Leeds yesterday, so that deal should be done tomorrow. And we got this player from Armenia who was at Manchester United,
mm.
who's a young player from Manchester United. So
Well,
it's things that
you spent some money over the last week, haven't you? So
yeah, I know. We spent some money. I'll say it was a it was a good game. I think everyone came together for the first time. I think we need to give Brendan Harrison more, just support him more. Yes, he's a Marmite. Everyone will love him or hate him. I know he's got one goal before one goal 2 seasons ago before, and he had a bit of a disaster loan spell at Union Berlin. But I don't know if you watched the game, Michael. It
I
looked
did watch
really
it.
good. Leeds looked really good. I think a lot of calmness for the first time for Leeds.
I could actually. I was thinking of you at full time, thinking, "Oh, Carl's going to be so relieved that this is finally that Leeds have ended it." I think this result turns your start into a disappointing one, into a not too bad start. It's not obviously great because you've had West Brom away. Okay, fair enough. Like that's a good point. I think Portsmouth at home, as I said to you last week, that's the kind of disappointing one. But Luton and Middlesbrough didn't beat Pompey, so you never know. And we probably won't next Saturday, to be honest. But um, no, it was a very good win. I think I expected just response from Sheffield Wednesday after they lost 4-0 at Sunderland last week, but I felt that Hughes were comfortably the better side. I think it was one of those where I think the effort wasn't lacking from Sheffield Wednesday, but Hughes just had the better quality on the night, and I think Dan James stood out to me and looked really really good. And I've said this before that yes, you've lost Somerville, but is Dan James ready to step up and make that slot his own at right midfield or right wing? Because amidst everything that's happening, it's like I said with us with losing Jack Clark, a door opens for someone else. It's like Somerville's gone, door opens to Daniel James unless an offer comes in the next few days. But Jane, the first goal, Aronson, I think it was Aronson who
Yeah,
scored.
it was Harrison. Yeah,
So yeah, he obviously capitalised on a bit of poor defending from Chef Wed, but you deserved the lead at that point. And then the second one was a perfect example of textbook counter-attacking where Sheffield Wednesday, I believe, had a corner. Then obviously Melier gets the ball, launches it forward, and then Daniel James basically rolled us from the halfway line. Basically, just has too much pace for the Sheffield Wednesday defence, leaves them for dust, and has a lovely dink towards the goal. So yeah, no, that was a really really good finish, and it was no more than you deserved, to be honest. I think you looked really really good. Um, and I think that it's all about just calming things down because as we know, there has been quite a fair bit of tension at Leeds over the last couple of weeks, and for justifiable reasons.
even on Twitter, man, it's just yeah.
Oh, yeah, come on, Twitter's toxic and tension filled.
I know. That's
Yeah,
why I don't post more content on there as much like I used to now. Because like I said, yeah, like I
yeah, I
said,
wish I did that.
yeah.
But what was it from your perspective? Because from my
It,
perspective as a neutral, you deserve to win, and I think it was a much needed 3 points for you.
it's the way press that press every Wednesday from the first few minutes we start to get to the game and we see the line up and I think Harrison is I wouldn't say the natural replacement for Rutter, but I think it works in a way
Yeah,
of his being back to goalkeeper. He's not like Peru who slows the ball. Harrison wants the ball to be quick. He wants to move, keep it ticking. And I think, get Lange Ramazani from, Almeria, I think he will put that quality on the wings, particularly on the left hand side, which is going to be what we need actually to try to get for him to cut, to cut left, cut into his right foot and all of his left foot. Because I think he's two-footed as well. I think, and I need to look at it again, but it looks like he's a good striker. I know he scored only 22 goals across the 4 seasons, but though I've only seen the highlights of him. You can't judge about highlights, but he looks good on the ball, and he's always very. He reminds me of Somerville, right as it is, but maybe he's got bit. Maybe he still needs to hone it on scoring goals more. But I think we will develop him more. As like I said, he's a good product from the youth Man United youth academy, which is surprising to say because I looked at from his highlights. He didn't sign that contract with United, so he went abroad, and he's a Belgian youth player as well. So I think I think to have when we have Somerville, who's Dutch player, that Dutch Belgian link could work because they play the similarities type of football, so type of game. We will see. I just think now with the cards, I don't see more players leave out now. I think once we get
I don't
Solomon,
either, to be fair.
yeah, I think we'll get Solomon confirmed by tomorrow. I think we will focus on the centre midfield, which we will do. We're trying to get Lubric chicks from FC Cologne. They're still budget, and I think he's now sacked his agents who have been. He's had about 3-4 agents in the last few months who have he's been trying to push the Leeds move, but his agents have done nothing but shit actually. So I think he's going to try to push out. He's going to try to push out that deal to get that deal to Leeds by Friday. I think we'll
Yeah.
get another midfielder and particularly striker. I think we may be okay for the time being because I think the left back situation, I think with Pascal Struck can still play there, but I think it will give a bit of stability into what we need. So I think Farker, I think we're now seeing the proactive of Leeds United. I know it's late, but it's what we needed to do. So we will see by Friday before the whole game on Saturday to who's going to be in, and hopefully
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of players out. But to be quite honest with you, I'm a bit more satisfied how the performance was because it
I
was
can
a must
imagine.
win game on Friday night. It was a must win game, and I'm glad the Leeds had enjoyed themselves, including the guy with the pie in his hand. He was holding it, and he just that was the best analytical when from the punditry Sky showed to him holding his pie and still even if he fell down. I wouldn't even help to do that. I would have dropped the pie on the floor. So
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because obviously, if it's Hull at home next week, you've got, isn't it?
yeah,
So the thing is now, if you beat them, then it's 8 points from 12 available in your first four, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, the start actually looks, dare I say, pretty good. I would say nothing spectacular, but pretty
no,
solid. If 8 points from 12 available also looks pretty solid. And I think obviously at home, I remember how dominant you were against Pompey. So I think that at home you will be like that in a lot of your games. And I think, but actually I was going to ask you, how busy do you think you're going to be? Our Leeds going to be the last week of the window?
we will be busy. We will be busy. I can guarantee that we will be
Yeah.
busy. It will. It will. It's already happened since Thursday night. With that, the business is starting now, and hopefully we've get one more winger. Solomon for Spurs tomorrow. That will be. It's all done and dusted. To find the crossing the T's and C's have been done. It's just making sure getting that deal. Just it's all confirmed tomorrow. I think getting the centre midfielder will be the biggest one, and then another striker up front. And I think we should be fine in that comfort. We should be more comfortable of having a bit more depth up the midfield attacking. I think we need, I think we've all got two recognised midfielders at the moment, which is Ampadu and Gruev and Charlie Crew if he's a youngster. But we do just need to be one more that could play. Well, maybe one or two, but I think we're fine comfortably where we are because some of the players can be adaptable to move around. So we will. It is a testing water to see how we can do in the next couple of few days until Friday. So
It's not going
to
to be boring for either of us, I think. Put it that way. It's going to be
I
very.
know, I know. So it's going to be a busy one for both of our teams, and we just didn't expect it was going to be the last week, especially for us. I thought if we didn't sort this out, what disaster this was going to be from
You
our
just
point
thought,
of
oh,
view.
yeah, can I just have one stress-free last week of the transfer window where all our business is done? We're not going to have anything happen. We can watch everything else unfold. But no, it's got to be busy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll confirm everything. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it. I don't know if myself or Doug is going to be doing a transfer deadline day show on Friday. Well, maybe not because we might just do it on Saturday. We'll look at things on Saturday, next week Saturday on the Saturday show, and just delve into all the transfer windows for across all leagues across Europe anyway. So we'll delve into that next weekend about that anyway. I don't think we'll do it Friday night, or Friday night would be too tiring as well. So
Well, yeah, given you only have to be up at 11 o'clock at night.
it's sometimes 12 if you live in
Well, yeah,
Scotland.
true.
So
Yeah, you get like request extensions, don't you? Where you can request for it a bit longer to complete a deal if it goes through. But yeah,
I know, I know. Well, say this as a Hearts fan as well. I was actually speaking to one of my friends who was actually a BBC reporter, and he was at the game today at Motherwell at Hearts, and Hearts looked really bad. And I said to him, would I keep Lawrence Shankland, because I know Shankland's in his last season, and there was rumours of him going to Rangers, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it's like there'll still be one or two Championship clubs within the next few months. We'll
we
be
need a
looking at him.
striker. Go for Lawrence Shankland, please. I wouldn't complain.
I know, I know. We've tried to give her a new deal, but I don't think he's going to sign it. We've always had this scenario, especially we've had a pool. We've been poor since Stephen Naismith signed his contract. So I think there's a lot of questions with that one,
Oh,
especially because we lost in the European leg on Thursday night to Victoria Pelson 1-0 just at the last minute. So we will see if we can overturn that result in the return leg this coming week. So this week, Thursday coming, I won't be going because it's already sold out. So I think it was only mainly for season ticket holders in the
yeah.
priority for what I was hearing. So yeah, I probably won't be going anywhere. I can't. There's no time. I'm watching TV, but if we get into the upper league stage, I'll be thrilled. So yeah,
You'll be with them in spirit, not necessarily in person, I guess.
I tried to be, even though a few years ago over a decade ago, I used to live near the ground, near Tynecastle. So yeah, I see if I can hear it on Thursday night. If I can, that depends.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with all the clubs. With the window, by the time we next, it's weird because by the time we next do a show like this, the window's going to be slammed shut for 3 months. Oh, sorry,
I
4 months,
know,
and
I
then we'll
know,
go.
and then it's an international break, which I'm not. I don't know if I won't be doing the Saturday show on the international break. I'm not. I
Oh, so
tend
you
to.
don't want to do one for League One and League Two, do you not?
Do you know what? For this season, I might do actually because I do have a few. I do have a few good fans that watch it. Chris Welch has always been a regular on our channel. He's always commenting, so he's a big Carlisle fan. And I need to see what Mike Green's doing because he got his Twitter account banned. His Twitter account's been banned, so I need to see if he's available. To see, I have to message him on his channel, see if he's free next weekend, and see if he can join me. Yeah, I might do a League One and League Two this season. Now you're saying that, it'll be because I usually do an hour and a quarter, but I might do that. I might do an hour and a bit. I'll think about it anyway. I've got some time to think it over. So yeah,
Once you've got your breath back from the transfer window.
that will be the best thing to do first. Yeah, yeah. Right. Before we finish the show, let's go to the league table. Sunderland at the top of the table, along with Watford, the top two still unbeaten. Leeds were the biggest movers from 16th to 6th place. Burnley have dropped down to 5th after the wins from but West Brom and Blackburn. Bristol City have dropped out in the playoffs at the moment, along with Swansea, Coventry City, and Middlesbrough at the top 10. At the bottom of the table is all Luton, Cardiff and Millwall getting their first points of the season, but still in the bottom three. And Plymouth and Norwich are both done with 2 points in hand. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how the tables will turn next weekend. So especially if you're Hull or Portsmouth have all got 3 draws and you could move up into the top half. So yeah,
To be fair, I'd take a point at Pompey next week. Actually, I
you
think
should. I know you would. I know.
I think 10 points from the first 4 games is beyond anything I would have expected, and I think Portsmouth away. I mean, we tend to do pretty crap down at Fratton Park anyway, so I think
Your record's really bad, isn't it?
yeah, the only time we won there in recent times was during the year when there was no fans in the ground. So we won
Mm,
in League One there, but like in general, we seem to really struggle there. But I think if we come away from Fratton Park and avoid defeat, then I don't think we can really complain. I think 10 points from the first 4 games, and then we'll at least be in the top 6 still. And yeah, I really wouldn't complain with a point down there. But I mean, if we win, I'm on cloud 12 because of 12 points. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
if we get anything, I would be happy.
I know, I know. Michael, thank you as always. We'll hopefully get with joy to everyone next week because I think Andy was a huge miss tonight. So
Absolutely.
especially, yeah, I know. And we need to get Anthony as well because he needs. I know you were out for Crew tonight, but we need to get him on here because we need it at some point. We do miss him since he was the start of this review from
Oh,
last
of course,
season.
of course. And if you're watching, how dare you have a social life is not good enough. Get your act
It's
together.
not good enough, mate. It's not good enough. Especially you
Come
lost,
on.
especially you lost 2-1 to Fulham yesterday.
I mean, come on. I mean, I know you'd rather have a curry than talk about football, but come on, you can't just let the side down because your team's losing.
I know. Even I got on here and still, it's fine, the shitty first 2 weeks was.
Yeah. Well, I had to go on this show quite regularly at the end of last season, and we did nothing but lose every week. So,
Yeah, I know.
um,
I'm surprised you and I had to go through that. We both dealt with it fine as the best we can do.
yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
come as much towards the end of the season because I was like, oh shit, it's just couldn't get any worse. So.
It's like you say, for the point when your team loses so much, you just go, well, we lost again. Copy and paste. Same as last week.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you very much as usual. If
Thank
you
you very
do
much.
want to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button after the end of the show and on our content as well. I'll be back probably Tuesday, Wednesday to do the rest of the roundup in the Premier League, and the rest of the English leagues, along with the Scottish Premiership and the European roundup. I should be back either Tuesday, or Wednesday. I should announce that on here on due course as well, but. Thank you very much as usual. We'll see you probably at the same time at 8 p.m. next Sunday. And I will be back on as well with the Saturday show next week with Doug at 11 o'clock. Take it for now. Have a good weekend.